the fire burning there. This, however, is the south side of the Carquinez Strait. You're taking a look at the map of the evacuation zone. Now, that area is pretty much Crockett. It is the southern portion of Crockett. It is an immediate evacuation order. We're talking about 1,000 people affected, the potential for hundreds more who are on the evacuation warning list. Those who absolutely must get out of their homes live south of Pomona Street to the city limit, and then west of Crockett Boulevard to 80, which of course is shut down. Now, the rest of the city limits are under an evacuation warning at this hour due to these fires. The one that was in Vallejo north of the strait started at 9 o'clock, 55 minutes later. This morning, the fire in Crockett started, and both Vallejo Fire and Con Fire believe that it was due to an ember that sparked the one on the south side. It flew all the way across the Carquinez Strait, landed in dry brush, and then sparked that second fire that now is forcing these evacuations. If you do have to leave your home, we know that the evacuation center is in Hercules. It is at the swim center, and you are asked to go there, stay off of the roadways as well. And now we are going to go live to Da Lin. He is on Interstate 80 in Crockett. Da, can you tell us, have they been able to get this any more under control?
Well, they're working on it, and every time it seems like they have the flames out. Well, because of the gusty winds, the flames will pop right back up. I want to show you what's happening right there. You see that fire burning right there. And for the viewers joining us, this is the Crockett Vallejo fire, and we are standing right on westbound I-80. Westbound is shut down right now. In fact, eastbound is also shut down right now, and this is the reason why I-80 is shut down in the Crockett area. This is the hillside next to I-80, and it is burning right now. What they've been doing, it is a very steep slope. So what they're doing, they're using air tankers to drop retardant. You can see kind of in the grass, the orange color on the grass. Well, that's the orange retardant they've been dropping to try to slow the flames from advancing. They've also have a couple of CAL FIRE helicopters dropping water on the flames right now. But you can see, I want to go back where the active fire is burning right now. To the left of that, you see a lot of fire engines right there, a lot of trucks getting ready, positioning themselves to put out those flames, and that is the off ramp, the off ramp to Cummings Skyway. And what they're hoping also is if it burns right there because of the roadway and also I-80, they're hoping this will be the fire break. They're wanting to make sure that these flames do not jump across I-80 to the other side. And I want to come back a little bit here, John. John is our photojournalist. What they're also concerned about is as the flames advance down this hillside, on that hillside right there, there are oil facility, storage facilities. You see those tankers right there. Those are the oil storage facilities. They have firefighters standing on that side monitoring these flames, monitoring this fire. They want to make sure this fire does not burn up there, because I believe those storage facilities or those storage tanks, they actually have oil, gasoline, diesel, and other types of liquid in there. So that's what they're concerned about. Looks like they have a pretty good control right here. It was burning pretty actively earlier. The choppers and also the air tankers have done a pretty good job. So right now what they're monitoring is just making sure those flames right there, once they get down to the roadway, it'll just be out, because they wouldn't be any more fuel beyond that. Emily?
It's kind of hard to see people in there from your background. Where are the firefighters? I can see the flames burning, but where are these firefighters concentrating right now?
Yeah, so right now they're not having too many firefighters actually actively fighting. At least from where we stand, we cannot see too many firefighters actually out spraying down the flames. That's because it's just very steep over here. This is looking at, just from my perspective, kind of like a 45-degree slope. So it's a very difficult spot to fight fire. What they've been relying on basically have been using air tankers and helicopters to drop either fire retardant or water on the flames. I did see a dozer earlier. They were using bulldozers to cut fire lines, but in terms of manpower, folks, firemen and women trying to battle this active fire, I'm not seeing too many of them actually on the ground.
Now, from the time that you got there to say the time now, have you been able to tell and just gauge based on advancement how quickly that fire is moving?
Yeah, so it's all driven by the gusty winds. I've been staying on this side, and it started on the top of the hill, and as you can tell, it's almost to the bottom of this hillside right now. So it's moved pretty fast within the last 30 minutes or so. But again, with the air tankers dropping the fire retardant, that's helped significantly. You see the orange location there on the grass. Well, that's pretty much where the fire kind of stopped. So that, in a way, is helping dramatically.
So from our perspective, just to give our viewers kind of an idea, the top of the hillside is where it was when you got there about 20 minutes ago, and then where it is, that's how much it's burned in, say, the last 20 minutes?
That's correct. And I want to give you guys a lay of the land too. So on the other side of this hillside, that's where there'll be some, I think 100 or so homes. That's where they evacuated people. I think it's Pomona Street all the way to Crockett Boulevard. So that's on the other side of this hill. And then, of course, I-80 is right here. The freeway is shut down. These vans and trucks, these are all media vehicles. And up the hillside over there, some more firefighters. So that's how we are positioned at this time.
It looks like on the other side, there's some did the flames jump to that side of the highway?
Right. No, Emily, so as I mentioned earlier in the previous hit, that's actually from a couple of weeks ago when the News Star, there were 2 oil storage tanks that either exploded or was burning. And so that's what happened about a week or 2 ago, and that's what you're looking at right there.
And we all remember too vividly, we all remember too vividly the video of the flames there. I mean, at this point, from where the fire's burning now, how close is it to those other tanks? Because that's a pretty scary situation.
Yeah, and John can give you a pretty good view. So it looks like, I mean, the flames are no longer very active and you can still see smoke there. And it's hard to see. They're actually behind those trees right there. There are actually some 2 or 3 fire engines down just behind those trees. It's very hard to see. They're making sure that the flames will not go up the hillside and get close to those oil storage tanks.
Got it. So at this point, it looks like the 2 priorities are to keep it away from those storage facilities, the storage tanks, and then also the homes.
That's right. So on this side, there aren't too many homes. So John, if you don't mind coming back to me. So what they're mostly concerned about is the basically those tanks right there. That's the main concern, because the homes, again, on the other side of the hill and then over on that side, those homes are pretty far. I would say those are a mile. We're talking about Hercules and Rodeo. Those are pretty far away. And as we're speaking right now, the winds are picking up again. It's starting to get pretty gusty again. And that's the interesting part, right? So the fire's out, but then once the winds start to pick up, you can see some of the flames will start to come back again. And so that's what they're worried about. And back at where the fire is burning, I think they're just going to let that burn out at this point. They don't seem to be putting any water on it right now. I guess they're using this exit as a fire break, so they're going to let the fire just kind of burn to the edge of that and just let it go out by itself.
Yeah, and Del, we've been hearing from firefighter after fire personnel all day about the weather conditions, and you can kind of hear it in the background there. What are you experiencing as far as the conditions?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, it gets windy, but then all of a sudden the winds will pick up and get really, really gusty, and you can see the dirt and debris all flying around. So it just really depends, and that's why, you know, weather folks and the firefighters have been very concerned about this wind-driven fire. But at this point, it is for the most part calm, and we're of course comparing to some of the conditions we saw earlier when it was really gusty and all the flames were just burning. At this point, it is for the most part not as bad as what we saw earlier about an hour ago. When I was here about an hour ago, it was really hard to talk to you guys.
Yeah, I think we're all hoping, and all firefighters are hoping, that the winds kind of lay down. Now, have you been able to talk to firefighters kind of about what they're experiencing or what their next moves are?
No, have not been able to talk to firefighters. They've been staged up there at that point, pretty busy fighting And I can't really tell. I'm assuming on the other side, there's some active flames burning as well. So I'm assuming they're working on the other side. But we've been stationed over here and no firefighters on this side. So I have not been able to get what their plans are at this point, how they're going to approach this.
Okay, Dalin, thank you so much joining us from the Crockett fire there on the south side of the Carquinez Strait.